G'day everyone, my name's Cautious Pancake, and last night the Fun Pimps held a town hall stream to try and address the growing voice of complaint that has been building in the community following the 2.0 release.
2.0, we tried a few new things, and some of it went well, some of it could be better, and to that end, we're going to get into some details in the stream.
For those that have missed it, I'm not going to add to the pile-on, but the short version is that the recent release has felt less like a sandbox and less like a survival game than ever before. I'm covering this now since I care about the game and its future, so a response from the devs is an important event that we have to talk about. It's to their credit that the Fun Pimps have heard the feedback and responded in last night's stream, so let's jump in and see what they had to say. The first topic to be discussed was the loot stage caps for each of the biomes. In short, these are going to be gone and will be rolled back in a future point release.
After listening to the community and examining the system, we agreed this is not needed and removed it for the next patch. The game already has loot biome bonuses and POI loot bonuses per tier, so there is already incentive to explore the world.
So biome progression was needed to pave the way for the final story and bandit implementation, albeit we think we can do a more open-ended sandbox version that we have in mind, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Biome progression is also something that's getting changed. While the difficulties will still be in the same order of forest, burnt, desert, snow and wasteland, you can choose to tackle them in any order.
The biome challenges are going to be changed so that the biomes can be unlocked in any order to promote sandbox gameplay. So you can go straight to the wasteland and go and do that challenge first if that's something you feel like doing. And we're also keeping the option to turn off biome progression. Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
The big change that I think we all wanted back from when 2.0 was first announced is replacing the biome badges with something a little more realistic. In short, the badges will now become themed survival kits that are craftable and are more like protective equipment items. The examples that they gave were,
names and objects are a little subject to change, but the general idea right now is smoke survival kit for the burnt forest. You're going to have a firefighter respirator, and that'll be an actual item you equip onto your avatar. A bandana and a hat and sunglasses, and that'll negate the ambient heat hazard found throughout the desert biome. The cold survival kit, it's kind of like a winter mask and some snow goggles. And then we'll have a radiation survival kit, and that's going to look like a biohazard mask with filters.
Note that these won't be visible on the character in the game, but will need to be equipped in the character sheet like a piece of armor is.
So they'll have the 4 new icons, so they'll be kind of realistic items, but they will be still kind of swapped up here. So you'll be able to hold all 4 of them. So like I said, there's really not that much to show everybody. It's a very work in progress. Obviously, they will not have these icons. They will not be badges anymore. But you will have a crafting recipe for them when you unlock them.
They'll be able to be crafted once you've completed the biome challenges, not only just for yourself, but also for people that you're playing with.
The last stage of the challenge would allow you to craft the item, and it would also allow you to craft one for your friend who joins, so that he wouldn't have to go through the biome immunity challenge himself if he didn't want to. So you can keep playing with your friends better.
And a cool new feature is when you die, these items will be dropped just like the rest of your equipment.
When you die, that's going to be removed from your character and you won't have immunity to that biome anymore. So getting your stuff back, you might be prepared by having a smoothie, which is going to be changed to another item. We'll get to that. Or a backup firefighter respirator, on your motorcycle. So preparation will be rewarded.
The next topic tackled was the smoothies. They've also got an upgrade so that they will be themed to each biome and will also reduce storm damage by 50%.
The burnt smoothie will now become a black lung serum. It's going to use the injectable animation. The Oasis smoothie is going to be called the Sunstroke Tonic. Frostbite smoothie is now going to be Scorcher Stew. And then the Atomic smoothie is going to be called Fallout Flush. And that one's going to be an injectable too. A bowl of stew, a drink, and a couple injectables is what we're moving to on these.
Now that the smoothies are changing and will become themed storm damage mitigators, they went on to talk about the storms themselves. I'm not sure that I'm fully on board with the vision that they have for the changes here, or why they're doing them, but basically they're changing the storms to have 2 different phases.
Stage 1 will have a unique debuff per biome, which will be appropriate. Like, the burnt forest will be smoke inhalation, desert will be sunstroke, snow would be frostbite, and the wasteland would give you radiation sickness. Basically bringing back, proper weather survival.
The second phase of the storms would be the same actual damage part like the current storms.
You start getting cold, so to speak, and with a cold debuff, and then after you've been out in the cold too long, you'll start taking physical damage like the current 2.0.
However, they did say that this storm damage will now increase over time to make it more dangerous. This will hopefully give the storms some appropriate flavour for the biome and allow players to get out and about more rather than being stuck inside buildings, but still allow them to have an impact.
We're reducing storm damage to encourage getting out into the storms more. It's probably still going to be pretty rough in the wasteland, but the burnt forest will be the least hard to survive in, and each biome will get a little nastier.
There was also some talk about possibly adding some other changes to storms as well, like having more loot bags drop, heavier and lighter storms, as well as allowing environmental effects to impact the storms.
Campfires and torches will slow down the cold debuff. Being in water or rain will accelerate the cold debuff. Being in water or rain slows down the heat debuff.
In addition to talking about mitigating storms with environmental effects, there was also talk about bringing back some items that would help.
Thinking insulation mods and possibly tiers of those that will increase the amount of time that you can be out in a storm during stage 1. These new mods can only be equipped in the chest slot, which prevents stacking. And alternative, we were talking about, maybe even bringing back clothing items. You won't really see them, but it'll be an icon and a description. There could be tiers of clothing possibly that you could find, and you equip that into your armor. So you could find maybe like a beanie to go into your helmet, long underwear to go under your armor, warm socks, gloves, etc. Basically clothing kind of like we used to have, and I think that would make the looting of laundry baskets and washing machines a lot more interesting too.
Another change would be for additional game options. They talked about this in a few different places for things like storm frequency, duration and damage, but later in the stream they are also talking about expanding on this a bit more.
We're working on adding a couple menu options, storm frequency, storm duration, maybe storm damage, in a new expanded menu that gives us a lot more options. We're going to do some big things to the menu for a lot of game control options, simulations options, which are super important to players.
The new zombies are also getting redone to make them fit the existing lore a little more closely. The Plague Spitter will become a Native American model, which they did show off during the stream.
We're modifying the Plague Spitter to fit our kind of central Arizona lore with a Native American looking Indian. And if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of our bandits are Native American, so it's really going to tie in well with the fact that there's a lot of bandits.
The game is set in central Arizona where there's the Apache, so we're pulling it back into that lore.
And the Frostclaw will become more of a lumberjack. The spawn rates for these will also be reduced to make them less overwhelming, and the challenge kill requirements for these zombies will be reduced to match the new spawn rates. So that was the changes that they talked about that are designed to fix up some of the issues that have been raised for the 2.0 release. From here the stream pivoted to start to talk about what are the new features coming post 2.0 and give a taste of where the game is going from here. So let's jump into those. Third person has been raised before, but it's got a bit more of an update. Lots of work has gone into this obviously, so I really hope it's successful. I'm a little on the fence as to whether this is going to be great fun to play with, so I'll reserve judgment a little bit until it comes out and we can see how it feels.
Here, coming up here, you'll see some of that type of thing with the third person camera here. You can see how the camera closes in because it knows it's tight, and here's an even lower area there.
One change that I know that plenty of people out there will be very happy to hear about is that tinting is coming back.
So tinting is coming back. We just didn't have time to do it, but we're committed to it now. So we're going to bring back tinting for the player clothing or armor, so players will be able to have improved customization. And if all goes well, no promises, but we'll even do makeup, hair, and beards.
One new feature that I'm personally pretty excited about is that there's a new flat spot code feature that is coming that will find 16 by 16 and 32 by 32 spaces of relatively flat ground so that they can be used for new quests.
The game pre-caches and looks up eligible spots in the world. It allows us to look up and find better positioned dig quests, airdrops, and allow us to do more unique quest types in those areas, like dynamic events, more sandbox events in the game. We can spawn an oil rig where you have to go do a defense quest. We're going to turn that on for dig quests and airdrops so they never end up like on top of a house or on a road and things like that. And it is going to pave the way for additional quest types and dynamic event types.
And one thing that always gets asked for is more weapons. It sounds like they've put lots of thought into this already, and Joel's talked about their plans for a new system of legendary drops to make looting still fun once you've got your full set of purples.
We're wanting to make rare legendary drops that have unique names, skins, special attributes, and these items would not be craftable. So it gives you a reason to keep looting, keep playing the game, and you could find some really cool, unique weapons late game.
Note that this isn't just for weapons either. They also mentioned that this would also apply for armor and tools. One new game option that they talked about, which I think is really going to make things interesting, is for permanent item degradation.
We want to put in permanent degradation as a player option. If it's not for you, don't turn it on. And so all those parts that you're looting, or maybe your purple one's about to wear out, well, the green one that you still have from earlier, it's going to come into use. I'm going to use that as my backup gun. So, having your items degrade, maybe not for everybody, but I think it's going to definitely add a little more tension to the game to where you're always, it's going to slow down the power curve a little bit. I think that makes it interesting.
They also talked about wanting to bring in more craftable stations to the game, one for bees.
An apiary, bee farm, so you can make honey, because you're always getting infected, and I think it's something every player would love to craft. And and there's going to have 3 upgrade slots to it, just like the other workstations.
One for chickens.
So we want to do a chicken coop so that you can have a passive supply of eggs and feathers, and that'll have mod slots as well to improve functionality, performance, all those things.
And one for cooking.
Electric or industrial stove, so that you can cook way faster and more stuff at once.
Finally, they did talk about bandits. The work there is ongoing. They have about 12 models in development, as well as some AI work fully under the belt.
We've done considerable work towards bandits. Some of the AI pathing has been worked on. We have 12 game stage bandit models that are in, most of them are like 90% done, but have a substance designer pass done to them. There are some where
marks are working, where they're like yelling at you and communicating with you in combat.
Yeah. So we're working on designing them with progressive inventory and capabilities, like including melee, ranged, thrown items like grenades, Molotov cocktails, and self-healing.
Finally, they talked about a new quest type, which sounds like it'll have a bit of a bandits theme and allow you to go into a building, place some explosives, and demolish the entire building in one go. As someone that's actually tried to build a demolish the building quest for my Trader Quest mod, I'm really keen to see this coming into the game.
We want to do a new quest type called Blow Up the Building, and we've been working on a stability system where the blocks are grouped into larger sections and fracture. You go in, you plant several charges, and then you go out and you hit a detonator. And who doesn't want to do that in a game with bandits? I mean, really.
So overall, what do I think of these changes? On the positive side, I think the changes to theming items more appropriately, theming zombies more appropriately, and providing more freedom for players are all great changes, and reflect that the devs have acknowledged that perhaps they misstepped a bit in 2.0. Over the course of 10 years, I'm sure it's very easy for them to get caught up in the excitement of things and where they want to go, and have things that sound exciting in their heads and on the roadmap not quite play out as they would expect. On the negative side of things though, most of what they've discussed boils down to just making 2.0 done right, and what it should have been from the beginning. So it sounds like they're going to have to do a bit of a do-over, which, as the Fun Pimps acknowledged, means that this additional work coming in will delay other features like bandits.
Just so you know, when we're reacting to feedback and we're changing our production plan, we are effectively delaying bandits. So when you request a lot of stuff and you come in numbers and you ask for it, and we say, all right, we're listening, we're going to do this. That costs us time. But if you want storms to be better, you want progression to be better, then we're going to commit that time to it, and we're going to do our best to try to deliver bandits as well. But it will impact some of our staff.
The other big concern I have relates to workload and how long it's going to take to bring these around. I think there needs to be a constant stream of small releases showing progress over the next few months in the lead up to Christmas. If we get to March next year and things have fundamentally not changed, then I think that's really going to hurt the game and the community. I believe the Pimps will follow through though. I just hope it's not 12 months before we see anything. Overall though, I think this is the right move. Most of the changes sound like they are intending to bring back player choice rather than keep the simplified on-rails game modes that 2.0 became. While these changes might push out other features that we've been waiting for, there's no point having bandits if the underlying mechanics are gone or are no longer fun. Oh, and I'm all for the new permanent item degradation game option. It sounds like they are considering more challenge type features as well, which will be great. But that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this goes far enough? Have the Fun Pimps nailed their response to the feedback, or is there still more work to be done? Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this recap of the dev stream and are looking forward to more 7 days in the future.